truth.
No chaser.
Welcome to Truth No Chaser. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Frank.
And this is a shot of truth stirred with bold opinions, reversing the miseducation of the black community as it relates to health and politics.
And yes, we have two very special guests with us here today on the show. We have the Watlingtons, Mr. Brandon and Mrs. Jacqueline Watlington. How you doing, guys?
Hey,
We're good.
hey,
We're
hey.
good. What's up, everyone?
Welcome to the show.
Us.
The Watlingtons are here to talk to us about building a brand with your spouse, right? And we want to talk about the challenges it may bring with building a brand with your spouse. Also, how you handle conflicts that may arise, the power of building something with your spouse, and of course, we are here to talk to them about their book, The Marriage Bubble.
Yes.
The Marriage
Get
Bubble.
that, get that.
Absolutely, yes. Get that. We got ours. You get your own.
Get
50
if you need to.
Get 500 if you
Yes,
want to.
absolutely. So, as always, what we like to do is we like to start every guest off with icebreaker, and all of these questions are going to be couples oriented.
Okay.
All right. So, favorite TV couple to compare yourselves to, if you had to guess. This is it.
Come on, we know it, babe.
Hold on. I got
That's a good one.
Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil, Dwayne and Whitney, Martin, Gina, or James and Florida Evans. Who would you most compare yourselves to out of those four?
Come on,
So, I mean, I already know what it is. I mean, you know, we're Hillman graduates.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Got the
So,
sweatshirt to prove it.
Dwayne and Whitley.
Yes.
Yes, all day long.
We love it.
Twice
I
on
love
Sunday.
Right.
So,
She's
that's-
like, come on, babe, you got this.
Yeah.
That's fantasy. All right, that's fantasy.
So where'd y'all go to school?
So,
I went to Fort Valley State University.
okay.
see, I
Oh,
was
for those that don't know, Hillman is not a real school.
Yeah.
They just,
It's not. In my mind,
We
it
just
is.
said.
We're like, oh, what the hell?
Y'all catch me this winter. I'm going to have on my hoodie.
Hey,
People see me in the
where?
store, and it's, I went to
There you go.
Georgia
yeah,
I
I was
did.
Georgia State
Fort
and
Valley.
and Fort,
Yeah, right.
Georgia State and then Fort Valley.
Yes.
Okay, in Georgia State. That's what's up. Well, let's talk real life. Now, who would you like to model who do you model yourself after, if any? Real couples. That was fictional. I'm talking about Barack and Michelle. I'm talking about, you know.
From the exterior, I mean, obviously Barack and Michelle, just because of what they represent, of course. But at the end of the day, in all honesty, like in real transparency, we strive to be the best Brandon and Jacqueline.
Nice.
That's
Yes.
like
I was
really,
hoping that you would answer that way.
that's really what it is. Like we have our role models, we have what we aspire to, but at the end of the day, if we can just be the best Brandon and Jacqueline,
Yeah.
everything else flows.
Yeah,
So
that's
right.
we know I like being me.
That's a
I like
perfect
me.
answer. That's a perfect answer. There really was no wrong answer unless you said Will and Jada. Moving on. Okay, so all right. So if you could turn back the hands of time,
I
if
cannot.
you could turn back the hands of time, and you were given a $10,000 as an engagement gift, would you A, spend it on a dream wedding, B, a dream destination for your honeymoon, or C, a down payment on a home?
Knowing what we know now.
There you go. That's actually was the beginning of that question. Originally was knowing what you know now, but I changed it. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Home.
Home,
An
hands
investment.
down, right?
Absolutely.
Hands down,
Yeah,
right?
easy money.
Got you. Okay, last question only because, and I just came up with this one on the fly.
Okay.
Because you said that you are such a music aficionado. As
That's for him.
as per Jay's playlist before the show, guys.
I already know what he's gonna ask.
So
Watch.
bam, like oh no, I don't think you know. One gotta go. Couples duet songs. One gotta go, and please choose wisely because I'm serious about it. Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn. If This World Were Mine. Yeah. Clutch pearls already. Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. The Closer I Get to You. That's original.
Wait.
The original. Okay. Rick James and Tina Marie. Fire and Desire. Look. Everybody in here is like, yeah, damn, Frank.
I'm telling you.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, so one of those three
Oh, one of those three?
have to go.
Oh, I mean, I already
You want to
know.
consult, or you going to just?
Let me tell you,
gotta be a
on all music,
There's gotta be a
I
fourth. You can't-
defer
That's what I'm like, yo, what's the
to
She said
this
we.
man.
She said we is one.
Yes, we are. He is the.
I looked up Marvin
We're both
Gaye and that was just
looking.
Right.
ridiculous. I looked up Marvin Gaye
always-
duets and it was just like too many.
Yeah.
So what's your answer?
Yeah.
So not the fact that it's not a strong one, but if I had to pick one that had to go, closer I get to you.
I knew.
Was
I ain't
that
mad at
y'all's
that.
running song?
If I had to
I ain't
pick
mad
it, it's
at
a
that.
great song. It's a great song. It's an incredible song. But if I had to pick one, it would
We
have
had
to be
to.
that.
We
I was
had
just
to.
hoping you didn't say Fire
Reluctantly.
Desire.
I'm gonna agree with that one only because like there have been renditions that were just as good, maybe even better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I was just hoping that you didn't say Luther Vandross. Okay,
Now
okay.
you know
No,
Luther.
never.
Okay.
Luther's name couldn't come up.
Big Luther, small Luther,
Right. I was,
Right.
Jerry
All
Crow Luther.
Luthers.
We love Luther over here.
my heart was pounding just
Nah,
now.
we a Luther Vandross household over here, man.
Good,
Yes.
good. Okay, so there you go.
Good job, guys.
All right.
I appreciate that.
You nervous?
We passed.
Sure did get hot up in here.
Right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this show. You guys seem very honest and transparent. Let's get into the challenges. What are the challenges you guys have faced so far building a brand together?
You want to take that?
If you had to give your
Yes.
top three, or if they are numbers.
Well, I'll jump into it because honestly, and just kind of building a brand, when we decided to work with couples, I kind of came to Brandon and said, hey, babe, I really feel like God has placed on my heart, just a love for couples and really trying to help people navigate through things. But I had no idea about brands or any of that. I would have still been doing the, midnight ministry at people's house, just, hey, okay, let's sit at the table, guys. Let's talk about it. Brandon was the one who really kind of taught me about branding and, just, hey, this is the direction that we can kind of come into. It's a ministry, but you're still providing a service for people. So I really, just attribute where we are. And we, in August, kind of hit a year at our podcast, a year at our business. I just attribute everything that we have been to this point to him. Just really me coming with the initial, hey, this is what I want to do, but him really having the vision. This is how things can go. And this is kind of the order of things. So the challenge in that is, this wasn't really my lane. This was Brandon's lane. He had a talk show. He had already written a book. I was kind of a little more behind the camera. So even on our first show, it really was kind of a matter of, I kind of be talking all of this and, babe, I want to do A, B, and C. It was he's an accountability partner. So it's kind of a, hey, all right, let's do it. And so I talk about on our first podcast how he just kind of hit the button on me because I would have been stalling forever, finding excuses for why this, it's not perfect yet.
And I always tell people, leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Yeah.
That's what I always try to tell people to do. So I think just to kind of go with what you're saying, essentially the challenge has been, or the challenge that could have been, but it wasn't a challenge because she really committed and believed in it, was really just going with the vision. She had the vision, and then I had an avenue for making the vision actually come true.
Yes.
And so, we were on one accord. We committed. We always say commit to your commitment, and that's what we actually did. Right. So I would say just make sure that everybody's on the same page, on one accord. And even if people have different views of it, that we come to a conclusion or to an agreement about what's going to work the best, as well as making sure that, that what she desires, gets done, as well as how I want to execute it. So we talked it out. We wrote out a plan about how we want to actually execute it, and actually took the steps of action to actually do it. So, make sure everybody's desires and dreams are honored. That's probably the biggest challenge.
Thoughts and visions are out there, because I know I'm kind of just more of a heart, stars, and marshmallows type person, and he's a little more reserved. So that balance of just what it, kind of really takes to build a brand and just sustain a brand.
And just putting yourself out there. That's really what it is, because I'll say this though, even though it's something a little bit different, building a brand, especially when dealing with relationships, one thing we never want to say is we are not saying that we are like the model couple, because when you put yourself out there like this, I was like, I was like, babe, I'm gonna be out. Yo, listen, babe, if this is what you want to do, we can do this. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Yeah. It's about to be like targets all on us because they think they nice, whatever the case is. All the other stuff or whatever. It's like, listen, we're not saying that we are the perfect couple. We're not saying that we're this or that, we're that. We have just learned how to resolve what we have the same challenges as other couples. We've just learned tricks of the trade and understood methodologies that will allow us to actually resolve our conflicts a little bit faster. Right. It's the turnaround time. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah. And so if we can do that for other couples, that's what we want to be able to do. So that was a challenge as well. Make sure that, being confident and understanding, what we might be up against as far as putting ourselves out there publicly. That was something that we were, I was very much aware of. Yeah. And so, we wanted to be mindful of that. But, like I said, getting on one accord, making sure that you understand what you're going up against when you're putting yourself out there. And then I would say, really, just follow through. That's the other part about building the brand. Just the follow through aspect or whatever the case is.
So that actually leads us into our next question, because that's what I was going to ask. Like, so what was her response? Because we were going to ask the conflicts. So now you have the challenges, but how do you handle those conflicts when they come about? So you did prep her, so to speak. And I like what you said. Brandon introduced you to the branding. It's in the name.
Yeah,
that'd be the only joke told.
Yes.
I'm glad you called it, because I had that in my head the entire time.
It's in the name.
Right.
I heard it.
That'd be the only joke told here today.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So but in that prep, how did you respond when he let you know, hey, when we got a target on our back when you start to present yourself as that model couple and stuff like that, because now you become a poster
the next
child
Derek Jackson up in there.
Right. You become a poster child for everybody else's values. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like, whatever everybody else depicts as a perfect sort of relationship, which doesn't exist. Right. But people, a real man does this, a real man does this. The moment he says the opposite, it's like, okay, well, you got the side to say it must be nice, and then you got the other people that are judging. So when those conflicts do come about, how do you handle them?
Honestly, if we were talking 9-10 years ago, right now we're coming up on 12 years in November.
She still likes me.
Right. It would be a totally different answer. But honestly, now we talk through it. It really seems so simple. It really seems old school, but communication, we have learned, is the key.
Remove that ego when you talk, because ego is nothing but an acronym for edging God out.
Yes.
When you don't leave enough room for God to move and to do what you need to do, man, listen, that's
Hold on. Wait, did you make that up?
Yeah, say that again, please.
Ego is an acronym for
edging
say
God
it again.
out.
Edging God out.
Yes.
One more time.
Ego is an acronym for edging God out.
That's a good one.
He thought it was his. It's mine now.
Tweeting it tomorrow.
Right. You've been hearing that.
That's a cold-blooded game right there, bro. That's a cold-blooded game.
Yeah, because when we talk about coining stuff, we definitely steal stuff over here.
Yeah, that's all good.
One thing that you just mentioned, the communication being the key, right? I've always said, and I should coin this. Hey, do me a favor, write this down. I said, that actually should be, I know we have the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
And I know, but communication needs to be a 6th.
Yes.
And it's different from just words of affirmation. That's not communicating. Not just saying nice stuff to each other. Right.
You is nice. You is kind.
Right.
You
understand what I'm saying? But communication, both verbal and nonverbal. So go ahead, continue. What you would,
I mean, just really coming back to the table, having those raw conversations. The thing about it, even with what you were asking about, when the spotlight is on you, what we practice in our marriage is just transparency, just between us. You know, nobody's gonna bust out and be like, oh, I got this on Brandon. Oh, I got this on Jackie. You know, we've already told each other, we've talked about it. And so just trying to bring that aspect just to what we do, you know, just with the show. Hey, this is us, you know.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. This is us. And so it's funny because we had some friends who are like, y'all overshare. You know, y'all talk too much. Mm-hmm. But really, this is the man that I'm spending my life with. There isn't really.
Right. If we're choosing to do life together.
Right. We're going to talk about everything. And so I think
your business makes me uncomfortable.
Seriously. But really just kind of coming back to the table, talking through things, what we do like, what we don't like. Hey, you know, the other day when this happened, I was feeling a way about that, like not, you know, letting weeks, months, years go by, just really addressing things kind of head on and just being able to move past it.
Yeah. And then also just to kind of talk about what you discussed as far as, you know, having that target and couples looking at you like, you know, they think they whatever. So the name of our coaching business and our show as well is called A Love Like That.
Right.
We
not
specifically,
this.
right, not this. We're not saying us. It's whatever that is for you.
Right.
Whatever that may be. Whatever it is that you decide that your love
vision
should
of
be
love.
like. Exactly. It should be like that. However that is, we just want to help you guys figure out the conversation, get you to whatever that point is. That's all that is.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love like that.
Love like that, not this.
Yes.
Right. Because we're not saying that we're perfection. Right. We're good for us. We're not saying that we were that's totally different. So we're not here being self-serving as much as we are being of service.
Right,
so.
right. You know, sometimes I talk about like going back to the beginning, you know, when we were standing at the altar and when we got married, we were so full of just love and just vision for the future. And then as time goes along and kids and all of these experiences beat you down, we kind of forget all of that. And then we get into the day by day, but really just kind of going back to what originally brought us together, like what that was and focusing on that. Because before we had kids, before we had a business, before we were anything, we were Brandon and Jacqueline. So we understand that we're the foundation of everything that we've created. So we have to make sure that we are nurturing that more than anything.
More than anything. Exactly.
More than anything.
And I mean, because I've known you for a long time. I think it's about to be 25 years in October.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
We've been going at this for a while. A little makeup, breakup, makeup, breakup, makeup, breakup.
I like the way he approached that too. He didn't say we've been married for X amount of years. He said I've been knowing you.
Yes.
You know, because that is it coincides exactly what you just said. Going back to focusing on what brought you together and nurturing that.
Yes.
In the lineage, when he said, you caught that when he said, "Oh, she still likes me."
Yeah.
And you were like
Major.
that. You were saying that's important. Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing because I mean it's easy. You're gonna love a person forever.
Come on.
You
Talk
can love a
about
person
it.
forever,
Talk
but you don't necessarily. You can dislike a person.
Hello.
Yes.
Listen, I say it all the time. I say this all the time. Like, yo, I love my wife, but more importantly, I like my wife. Because like you said, you have people in your family that you love, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You got some cousins that you love in your family, right?
Yeah.
You know, but you be like, I don't stand
Yeah.
your boom. But I still love you though.
Yeah, you fall out of like with somebody.
That was my second favorite thing about the pandemic. My first thing was introvert.
You were loving it.
That thing could have went on a little bit longer if it was up to me.
It's another 2 years.
Quarantine,
Right.
fine. But
Cough a little bit more. Cough a little bit more.
I just want another one of them stimulus.
But the other thing was when my wife looked at each other, we were like, "Hey, I like you." Like we
Isn't that
stuck in
something?
this, and I'm like, "This is dope." Like, the only thing is still like I can be stuck with you and be good.
Yeah.
Because there were people that were the opposite.
Yo,
Right. So many marriares.
Like this is
Talk
what being
about
home
that.
is about.
seeing married people. I'm outside.
Yes.
It's the truth though, because we say this all the time. Because what marriage will do, man, what relationships will do, is like there are days where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm married to you. And then there's days where it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm married to you. Okay? And but you know, it's
That's real.
It's really what it is. It's just how you perceive it. And talking about the pandemic, there's another saying, adversity introduces a man to himself. When you're dealt with that adversity of having to be stuck in a house with your spouse, who you may or may not always be doing that with from the jump, it's like, how do we manage, the expectations? How do we manage our personalities? And it's, you have to figure out, how, what is us?
Right.
And that was really important, so, that was really important.
So you guys have had the brand for how long?
It's been over a year now. It's been over a year. So you saw with the with the relationship coaching, and then with with the podcast as well. So we've been at this thing for over a year now, as far as the workshops, the events that we do as well. So it's been it's been a great experience. So part of what I do as well, just as a life coach, and also helping others develop their coaching business as well, speaking and whatnot. I said, this is a prime opportunity for me to do this within my own household.
Yes.
So we have another project that we can really build upon here. So I said, well, let's run it, let's do it. And, it's been a great experience because it's allowed me to see Jackie really step out into something that she may not have originally thought that she could do. And
Never.
I always say,
wasn't coming, guys.
she had the idea, but she didn't know how she wanted to go about it. But I always say this all the time. Listen, if I can help my wife elevate, then that makes me look good. So if I can make her look good, listen, I got nothing to complain about. So she's been an amazing factor into this role here. But it's been over a year, and it's been really, really great. And I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.
I absolutely have enjoyed it.
At least that's what we said we were going to tell each other when we got here.
Right. Elevated my life in just so many ways. He added author to my name. That I tell people that wasn't on my list, my to-do list. But it really just is about leadership. The man is called to lead, and it really is, hey, babe, I have this idea, and he has turned this idea into all of this. So it really just speaks to the man that he is. And, really when you follow God, and then you're...
And we doing numbers on the streets, man. Just saying.
For real?
Right. The man is following.
Listen,
Right.
That's what's up.
The way you speak about your husband, that's dope. That's against a lot of modern ideals of couples and just the way uplift each other. You guys are speaking about so highly of each other, and it's so beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not rehearsed, it's natural.
Oh yeah, no, this is rehearsed. I promise to God it's not. But you know what though? When we first got married, I think we had to work on it. I think she had to see it in me first.
Yeah.
She had to see it. Even though she saw enough to say I want to marry you, but there were still some other areas where she had to see and understand.
Right.
You have to understand, I'm oldest of all boys, youngest of all girls. Okay? Coming together. Never lived together before we got married. So the youngest of all girls, the oldest of all boys together. And the sandpaper friction, trying to figure out how to make that work. And the ego that would come into play, or whatever the case is. But once we actually work through those things, that's part of it. And you have to do work on anything. I don't care what it is. It's work. It's good work when you're intentional, when both people are intentional. And so, when I talk highly of her, it's not because, she's sending me a check or whatever the case is. When she talks highly of me, I'm definitely not sending her a check, but we just working together.
Yes.
So, she all right.
Constant life coaches. And so Ashley, that was a dope question last night, man. That coaches, you guys are life coach, love coaches.
Yeah, we're relationship coaches.
We're relationship coaches
Brandon,
individually. I'm a personal development coach, and I also help others learn how to build their business as well.
So how do coaches get coached?
Again, removing the ego.
Do you have?
Do I have mentors and whatnot? Yeah, for sure. Listen, I think you have to have a mentor in anything that you want to excel in.
Right.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's at bare minimum somebody from a distance that you can at least watch or follow. Bare minimum. Mm-hmm. Best situation is someone that you can have up close. So in the realm of marriage, we were able to, even though we didn't necessarily have anybody that we were like, okay, we want to be like that or whatever the case is, but we had people who who helped us out, especially that first year. We had mentors,
Yes.
who really helped us understand certain things.
Marriage mentors.
And it was the most critical and most important thing that we did, along with our premarital counseling that we did as well. Because there were certain things that we dealt with every Monday. Remember, babe?
Yes.
Every Monday we did our premarital course. And every Monday I would go over to her parents' house and she would cook me dinner. And we would go and walk in hand, all lovey-dovey, right?
Yeah.
By the end of that Monday night
It wasn't
premarital
like
course,
that.
we were fighting. It was an argument every single night in that car.
Because it dug up so much stuff. It dug up, conversations
that we never thought about.
We didn't think about.
We never thought about it though, but it's having working all those things was really important, and then getting the marriage mentors to help us out with that was really important as well. So we were really we were really blessed with that. So
Yes.
from a marriage aspect, having mentors is great. Just as a coach aspect as well, having a mentor is vital as well, because they are seeing things that you have yet to experience.
Right.
I don't care how successful you are. The beginning stage, middle stage, end stage, there's always someone who has seen something or done something more than you. And so, being able to sit at the feet of people who are able to see things from a higher level, it's very, it's imperative.
Imperative. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What happens? Whatever happens when there's like really no resolution to your issues, your problems. We talked about how you handle them, but not everything has an answer.
I would say from that perspective, well, first and foremost, I would say before we even go into the situation, what we had to learn early on was that the other person on the other end of this conversation is not my enemy. Because, sometimes it's like, do I want to win this war, or do I want to move the relationship forward?
Right. And
sometimes though, especially early on, listen, we petty, okay? People can be petty, okay? And you get into that I want to win type of situation. That's not going to help out the marriage aspect, the relationship aspect. So once I understood that, hey, you know what? This is not my enemy over here. And she realized I'm not her enemy. That makes it a lot easier for us to come to that conclusion.
Right.
Because we talk it out. And also, I understand, even though, the whole traditional husband, whatever the case is, blah, 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 I get that part. But just because I'm the man of the house, whatever the case is, does not necessarily mean I have to disregard what she says. Mm-hmm. So I still hear her out, no matter what. No matter what it is, I have to hear her and what it is and what's important to her. And if the final decision is something that is beneficial for the family, if it ends up being her decision, I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be my decision. So we because we come in with the understanding of, hey, we just want to find solution. I understand that you're not my enemy. I'm not your enemy. It allows us to get to that point where we are able to find conclusion. Even if we have to really sit down and actually just grind it out, which doesn't happen too often, thank God. But yeah, when you come in with the right spirit, it makes it easier. It's not easy, but it becomes easier when you come in with the right spirit to actually find a resolution. Hopefully I answered that correctly.
No, you did. Yeah, that was good. Yes.
That was a great answer.
Earlier on, you said he's elevated your life in so many ways. And you mentioned that working with her on this book and this brand, you've seen her come out of different ways that you've never seen before. What things have you learned about yourself during this process when joining together as a brand?
Go for it, baby.
Particularly with this book, we learned that we could do anything together. It really, going through the stages of just writing a book and just going back and forth and just like, okay, you know what? It was a good idea. I don't want to do it anymore. Right. Like we literally are a few pages away, but you gotta like keep going back. So really just kind of the power of partnership, like coming together. I wasn't doing it by myself, if I tapped out, he was there and he was still running with energy, if just in back and forth, just the balance of I'm not in it by myself. And I think for me, I'm just kind of big on somebody to hold my hand, you know, through life, and like, you know, just I can do it, but sometimes you just want to know like I'm not alone. And so things that I never imagined, like this book, and just really being in front of the camera and, you know, kind of being in this position. I never really imagined any of it. I kind of shied away from public speaking.
And I'm a Leo, so you know,
this is,
we always,
like I said, this is his lane. You know, he enjoys this, but just really, hey, you know what? This is true partnership. He is here, you know, to catch me when I fall, to really just support me, to kind of move me to new heights that I thought I wouldn't necessarily. It just wasn't on. It wasn't in my thought process.
So it sounds like elevated trust is the thing that
Yeah, it is. It's kind of, it's a total trust. Like, okay, all right.
You recognize your strength.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you definitely
yeah.
do. You definitely do. And seeing it through somebody else, you know, we are so big on what we can't do, or, oh, you know, and it's kind of like, no, you can. Like,
Yeah.
no, I see this in you.
And I'll
It's-
say this part.
It's big.
Yeah, and I'll say this part because when we came to this thing, she always used to say, "You always think of everything as rainbows and stars and whatnot." I was very much the optimist, and she was very much the realist.
The realist, right?
Or the pessimist, or however you want to look at it, or whatever the case is. And it's, and you know, I'm like this. You know, reality is negotiable. You know, if you really think about it, though, reality is
Can you
negotiable.
say that again, please? I like that too.
Reality is negotiable. It all depends on what you're willing to do to
Mari,
get to
take
that.
notes.
It's a dangerous concept if misused.
Yeah,
Right. Shouldn't have told him that. But I'm just saying that it's negotiable. It really is. If you really want something, what are you willing to do in order to get it?
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so I just told her, I was like, listen, if this is what you want, then this is what we can do. And so, you know, after a while, I think she started to understand why I am the way I am. Why do I always think that why do I always feel like there's an opportunity in every situation? Why do I always feel like, you know, the possibilities are always there. And just, you know, like I say, you know, I made her a believer. So, you know, that's a good thing, you know, because we need more positivity in this world. We need people to be careful, obviously, you know, certain things that may happen, of course. But, you know, we have enough people dragging us down here in the world already, man. Listen, you know, we just need people to kind of uplift us and to really see that there's opportunity and that we really can do this, especially for ourselves, but also for the next generation. Right. You know, we have kids, our son is 9 and our daughter's 5, you know, and I always said, you know, I wanted our children to be fearless, not reckless. Be fearless, not reckless, because there is a difference. And that's what I've always said. I wanted to make sure that they saw in me, and now they see it in us as well. So we're going out for our dreams.
Yeah.
Do you anything? Mr. Leo, what did you learn about yourself though? Like, she spoke with the strength that she recognized and how you elevated her, and she sees different things. Did you learn anything about yourself?
Resilience. Resilience. That's the thing. I don't know if anybody's. You've written a book. You know, it's not fun.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
So you already know
Man.
exactly. And so, you know, this is book number 1 for her and book number 2 for me. And so it's like, you know, the resilience of just getting through that. There were days where I probably woke up on a Tuesday and probably didn't get to bed till Friday. You know,
Real
just
life.
getting this thing, make sure that we were doing this thing the right way. So, you know, just resilience, I would say, you know, being able to, you know, create something out of thin air and just creating it. That's, you know, the whole manifesting thing or whatever, but it really is true. You know, we said, listen, we're going to do this book, and just called it, we just spoke it, and then we just did it. It's just doing it, you know, that's really what it is. So for me, it has reinforced things that I knew about myself, that I knew that we could do. And what, you know, anybody else out here in the world can do as well. We're all capable of it if we just believe that we can.
Yes.
And that's my little, you know, corny little sappy little saying to go.
Speaking of the book, go ahead,
So
Frank.
yeah, definitely. Like, you know,
Let's
we've
get into this
been
bubble.
talking about this marriage bubble book that you all can purchase out there that's going to be watching this. But let's say hypothetically, I'm single. I need a good read. I'm walking through Barnes and Noble, you know, I'm shopping
I am
online or
single.
whatever, you know, I'm
Right.
just looking at things to read, and I see, okay, marriage bubble. I'm single. That doesn't apply to me. What about this book can grasp me as just an overall, not just. Yes, well.
I am single, so.
Actually,
I got you.
I was tired of using her as an example of the only single person. Yeah, that's the only single person.
I appreciate that.
Right.
So that's how I threw myself in there, but you know, I
Look at him being kind.
Speaking for all,
Like this. He's looking like this.
really was thinking about it.
Look. He said, I ain't pointing no elbows.
Right. You know,
that's funny.
So I mean, like, you know, what about this book? What are some of the key components and things that may be able to grasp any and everyone?
I'll tell you this much: it will attract the single people who are preparing themselves for it.
Okay.
It's not going to attract
good.
single people just because. It's going to attract the people who actually desire that for their lives.
Okay.
That's who it will attract as far as for single individuals. We have a chapter in there which is chapter 2. Chapter 2 is an intense part of the book. Because it's talking about all things that you have that you need to understand before you say I do. And we go through all the different things. Listen, you know, it's like I said, you know, removing the ego, understanding, you know, love is an action, not a feeling. You know, it's a discipline. You know, it's so many different things that go into that. Not setting yourself up, not setting your spouse up for failure by having expectations of perfection. So many different things that are in there from that, you know, perspective, you know, because, you know, we went into that, you know, even though we had prepared ourselves for marriage, but there were still certain things that we were expecting to go down or to happen just because we got married. And it's like, that's not really how it goes. Right. So when you understand that it's not just about you, it's about us, and it's not, and marriage is a service.
Yes, service business.
You are in this, the moment that you get married, you automatically have enrolled yourself into the service business. Yes. And that is what we want people to know who are getting ready to be married, who are married, who are trying to figure out the marriage that they're in already and it's just not working out. And for people who are already in, it's good, but you know, hey, we need a quick little refresher. Yeah. So that's important.
That's a key component that most of us forget in marriage, and it's often left out going into marriage. Like, it is 100% service oriented, and the
1000%.
only way you survive it is to die daily. Like, and probably multiple times during the day.
Yes, exactly.
For real.
Exactly, because it's not to interrupt, but because I always said, that I wanted our marriage, us specifically, I wanted our marriage to be a representation of God's love. Yeah. That's what I always said. I just didn't know how we were going to do that or show that, but I just knew for just her and I, just as, you know, a couple, I wanted that to be the example. And then for others just to feel that when they were around us. Because, you know, you look at God's love, in spite of our shortcomings, he still loved us enough to give us grace and mercy for all the different things. Not to get all preachy in here, but it's really the truth, though. No. It's the truth, though. Yeah. Okay?
You know? He invented marriage.
Right, exactly, okay? Mm-hmm. So, you know, and that's the example. So we are dying to self every day, and we are serving each other because, every day that I'm married, single Brandon dies every day. Every day, single Brandon dies a little bit more, and you know what? But that's okay because this is we've chosen to be unified, right. And so that's something that's important. But you have to have the understanding and the right mind frame in order to do that. And I see so many people. Okay, I'm about to go on a tangent.
What part of single Brandon lives? And we're gonna play. I gotta mess you up. Yeah. We're gonna mess you up today.
Like I said, I want to know.
Is that a bro code? That's a bro code thing, right? That's
look at Jay was head down.
I mean, from my wife and everything.
We'll see what had happened was. I had failed. Yeah.
Plead the fifth. I gotta answer that.
But I said not to go on a tangent here.
My bad. My bad, B. That's my bad. That's bro code.
Hey, he set him up for the car ride home. So what part of something?
Still lives.
I didn't hear an answer. I'd like to know.
Sometimes,
but you know what?
Watch the game alone.
Right, but you know what though? I can say this in all honesty. She knows what everything is about me, or whatever the case is. Like, we actually have honest conversations about a lot of different things, and we got to a point where we understand. You know what? I ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere, or whatever the case is. And so, and I'm staying honest to my vows, and she's staying honest to her vows, or whatever the case. So we can have those honest conversations because we know who we are and what we are, whose we are. So, you know, we're good. So now that I wouldn't have to worry about a long conversation on the way back, though. But no, but
She laughed like, yeah.
In here, you won, but in the car, church you bad.
That's right. Had to have
Sound like Sophia.
oh, that's funny. That's funny.
No. You know what I found most amazing about love and life coaches, and when this is the topic, when love is the topic, right? You can always, you know, everybody has different perspectives, but the root is always going to remain the same. So everybody, you know, you end up sounding alike.
Yeah.
And you said not to get too preachy, and ironically, I was going to mention my wife nudged me because you said something that the pastor at my cousin and Dwayne and Nicole Thomas, they just got married Labor Day weekend. Congrats to them.
Congratulations.
But you said love is
action, not
action.
a
There you go.
feeling.
There you go. Love is an action, not a feeling. That's exactly what he said. So I mean, it you know, again, there's no one way to do this, right?
Right.
And I can't commend you enough for the beginning of this interview when you said that the tagline is the love like that, right?
Yeah.
Podcast.
And the podcast. So the love like that. Honestly, that's like dope because I'm sick and tired of all these people acting like anomalies. This is the word, and there's like one way to do.
No, I'm so with you on that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna even jump even further back. We had Reverend Rice, Beulah Baptist Church, formerly of family at Ray.
Right.
And we were talking about spiritual gates. But when we had one topic, a portion of the subtopic where we focused on, you know, how to recover or how to recenter yourself after you maybe perhaps there's been some breaching or something of your spiritual gates. And what he said was, you know, get back to whatever makes, you know, he used Ashley, for example, makes Ashley, what makes Frank, what makes Brandon, what makes Jack. Do that thing, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone is telling you we keep looking for this center. There's always someone telling us love should look like this, you know, spirituality should look like this. So the fact that you guys have that tagline in the show, love like that, that's what's really, and when you say, you know, not like us, but whatever it looks like for you, whatever centers your relationship, that is so key because we're so, to piggyback on what Frankie was saying, we're so misled by constantly being fed these ideals of what it should look like and not even recognizing, going back to what Jackie said earlier, another thing she said earlier was, you know, what brought us together and nurturing that, nurturing and building that. And
the popularity contest is another thing that's a peeve of mine because a person might be more notable than you.
Yeah.
Their word starts to be taken as gospel.
Yeah.
And the word, the book is more so about how things should go versus if which you've been trying isn't working, maybe I should give you these suggestions to go by. But they're kind of like writing relationship advice books, you know, and making it step-by-step guidelines as to this is going to be an automatic go-to for eternal happiness, and it's just not fair to the viewer, you know what I'm saying? Like you or the listener or the reader. Yeah. He said it just right.
That word fair. That was it. It's
not
fair.
You know, it's unfair. You know, like he misguided.
Yeah.
You know, so
you know, I think that's true because, I mean, we have some general aspects that we do talk about in there, or whatever the case is, but we leave enough room for the individual to still be the individual.
Right.
You know. It's not like step 1, look into her eyes. Step 2.
Step 2, right.
Tell her, right, exactly.
That's how it is. Yeah. Step 3, this is how much she should make, and this is how much you should make. If you don't, then
that is a setup. That's a setup for failure, and I see those all the time on different shows, different the platforms, events, whatever the case is. I'm gonna be honest, I've seen a few with it's like yo, how.
It's there.
Let me shut up. No, I'm going to be quiet real quick.
Yeah, it's a setup because the whole conversation smells of lack, which is not of God. You have to be, in order to have that conversation so passionately, you have to be concerned with life.
And then you get single people.
And then
Then you get single people like,
Hey, don't get
oh, I know that's right.
right, but no, all right. So that's my thing. Okay, so let me not get on this
Then you get
tangent.
single
But
people. Yeah.
I felt a little
right,
discrimination.
no,
Badass.
listen. I have no problem. I have no problem. I
Badass.
have
I had you on mute so
zero.
Barry people can talk. I'm sorry.
I have zero problem with single people discussing relationships.
Right.
If their heart is in the right place, if they're going about it for their end game.
Right.
They are talking about. There are a lot of single podcasts that I've seen that are talking about it for the right now. Mm-hmm. Black men ain't this. Black man ain't that. Black women ain't this. Whatever. It's like y'all still playing checkers. If y'all trying to get to the end game of marriage, and this is a whole game of chess that we have over here,
Fact.
and we have to rearrange our brains for that. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. If you're worried about this, then you ain't gonna get to that part here.
Right.
You know. So it's hard to transition to that if your brain isn't already ready to move to the next game.
Yeah.
And they're still in the play aspect. Why he ain't call me back? It's been the third day. He ain't call me back. He ain't say nothing bad to me with the cases. I ain't get flued out. What? Like, come
yeah,
on.
you know, it's
like,
serious about
like
You know-
now we're talking about transactions now at this
Right,
point.
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, not a relationship, but a
being
transaction.
nice, keeping it a buck. We just talking transactions.
Making
at
each
this
other
point.
customers. I want to get. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think when it comes to marriage, I think everybody has to do what feels right for them. Just there's no cookie cutter approach to marriage. You have to do what feels right for you. The key thing is everybody needs to know the plan, husband and wife, and everybody needs to know like the play. So you can't be going out making, all of these plays, and as your wife, I have no idea what's going on. If we are all on the same team, then we all need to know the plan and the play, and then everybody can move as such. If that's what you're okay with, if this is how we want our marriage to be crafted, then we need to say, hey, this is what I need, this is what I want. Like, are you okay with that? Give them the decision to say, oh, okay, I'm for this or I'm not. But just do what feels right for you and make sure that that's what feels right for everybody.
Yeah.
I just got a ton of alley oops for me, man. I literally, just setting me up. It's because it's stuff that I didn't really think about prior to the conversation. But the metaphor of chess, not checkers, is like completely underrated to me. People is way deeper than people think. You said knowing the play, the teamwork. You understand what I'm saying? And that's basically where that metaphor derives from, because in the game of chess, it's real simple. It's nobody holds power until a person is king. Now that king can move all over the board freely, and the game is all jacked up and unorganized. However, the pawn could be just as much protection as the major play pieces in the game, because it's literally that strategic.
Exactly.
So it's not. So honestly, I can go on all day for that. But anyway, I'm sorry, Ashley. Did you want to jump in here from singles corner?
See, I turned my mic.
Yeah.
Turn it to
They said I can't enter the conversation no more, so I just kind of just turned my mic. Look at my sangria. Thanks, Tiff. My sangria.
Yes.
We had a single people's question on here. Did you want to jump into that?
You already asked the singles question.
I did already. Oh,
Hypothetically, if I was single,
hypothetically,
I am single. I should ask that question.
Let me move my mic away.
For the married folks, hypothetically, I was married.
Okay, hypothetically.
Are there any sex stories you guys have heard? Any winnings?
No, I'm messing up.
I'm about to knock you out. I'm about to get your husband.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry, go ahead,
definitely.
Jacqueline.
In the book, we kind of talk about a couple who's kind of working through some vulnerability issues. Just really kind of
For the husband.
right for a husband, kind of working through that. Just kind of really, hey, I'm supposed to be the strong presence. I'm supposed to hold it all together, but he's not holding it together. He's really kind of crumbling. But you have a whole teammate over here who's ready to tap in, but she doesn't know to tap in because you're kind of keeping it up. And so we talk about how, say it again.
What chapter is that?
That's communication.
Communication.
Yes.
Okay.
But just kind of talking about how they worked through that. And they were actually in counseling with us, but just how they kind of came in, how they worked through it, and the results that came from it.
Getting him to see that it's okay to lean on her at times.
Yes.
And it's okay to be transparent with her,
Right.
about those things, because if you're not able to be transparent with your spouse, you are basically denying them the opportunity to rise to the occasion. That's really what it is.
My wife told me that.
She might be right.
Actually, repeat that.
I don't like it. I don't want to love like that. I want to love like this.
Right. Too much. But no, but I think that's the important piece. So yeah, we saw a big turnaround with that couple. But between the coaching that we do with certain couples, what we've done with our premarital courses as well for couples who are getting ready to get married, that's the one I actually have enjoyed, because they're sponges. They're like, teach us whatever it is that whatever the case is. It's like and to see them really grasp it and understand it, and then to follow up with them and see where they're progressing is, it lets us know that we're walking in our purpose.
Yes.
From that perspective,
Yes.
So we're thankful for that, though,
And I think we got a ton from our premarital class. Just at times we've gone back to that book and kind of flipped through. Our instructors kind of taught from the perspective of, I don't know if y'all have seen National Lampoon's Wally World, but they're just pretty much okay. So that was
that was the metaphor that they used for our marriage counseling in DeRay.
Same.
Okay,
so
yeah.
did you have the
World.
Curtises?
We did have the Curtises.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
There you
have
go.
the
Then you
Curtises.
know.
we had them on our we had them on
Absolutely.
our show because they helped us out a great deal. So that was something that
So
we
you
did.
know
we
exactly
have
what
we
I'm
have
talking
that
about.
we were given that gift, and we have it in our bedroom hanging out.
Yes, we
Yeah,
have it there too. And
yeah.
sometimes, just with whatever destination or journey we're trying to get to, there are going to be roadblocks. There's going to be everything thrown at you at one point, but you gotta use the tools, and that's what the book is.
This
it's
is what
toolbox.
it is. Check this out. Watch. Shout out to you, Mr. Curtis.
Go ahead.
Don't let a moment stop your movement.
Oh, major.
That's something that so story time here. Right before we got married, remember we had that big argument, or whatever the case is. Oh, she pissed me off. She
calling it
pissed me-
off.
Oh, I was like, listen, you can tell your mom and everybody we can call this whole entire thing off. We really can. And she gut punched me with that one. She gut punched. She's like, maybe we need to take some time. I was like, no, that's not what I was expecting for you to say. No.
Right.
Oh God, no. Right. Gino, you win. Yeah, Gino. Right. I was like, I didn't let her know that, but inside that's how I felt though. I hit him up. I was like, this might be it though. I was like, I don't know. He said, listen, it's a little roadblock you have right now, but don't let a moment stop your movement.
Yes.
Your movement, your purpose for
Major.
your relationship is bigger than whatever this moment is.
Yes, a
Are
moment
you going to
in
let a
time.
moment deteriorate everything?
Right.
And
Derail
when he put
everything.
and when he put it like that, I was like, you know what, man? It hit me like a ton of bricks. That's something I tell my my clients and everybody else. Whatever hurdles that you're going through, don't let a moment stop your movement.
Yes.
It's a situation. It's not going to be the end of the world if you choose for it to be. And so that's what we try to teach other couples, and it's been really important. That's what we put in the book, and so it has the 4 components. So with the marriage bubble, as I'm a shameless plug of all that, but no, but we talk about the 4 components. So there's 4 bubbles that we have in the marriage bubble. So you have communication, conflict resolution, romance, and finance. So those are the 4 bubbles. And so as long as you are working on those 4 aspects, so that will help make the whole marriage bubble cohesively work itself out.
Right.
Communication, conflict resolution, romance, finance.
Finance, yeah. And the communication and conflict resolution are important because we always say, a highly successful marriage is 2 individuals with high conflict resolution skills.
Yes.
If you have
Major.
high conflict resolution skills, it makes it easier. Like we said, we're not going to say easy, but easier for you to navigate this thing called marriage.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Yes.
Right, the obstacles that's going to be thrown
Yeah.
away and things. That's
Yeah.
actually deep. Yeah, I like that. Man, This is beautiful, man. This was beautiful.
This was really good.
Yeah. So Jay, let's hop in, man. What do you call it? This what did the people just hear from us?
This is going to be a rich recap here.
Yes.
So I'm going to actually keep it a general, make folks listen again. But we had the Watlingtons on, right? And we talked about, of course, building a brand with your spouse. And we got really deep and really granular in some ways we can give some really strong takeaways. Some of those challenges they talked about building the brand, but really they talked about them from a winning perspective, right? And we talked about how do you get through those conflicts, focus. Some of the points mentioned were focusing on what brought you back to this place. And another thing, if you're building something with your partner, your life partner, your spouse, who's going to be with you when you leave the business planning behind, or leave the office, so to speak, honoring one another's dreams and goals is the immediate thing that stuck out among several things. And then we moved on talking about what you learn from one another, right? And we mentioned a lot they shared a lot of personal points, but the main point is that the process allows you to learn something from one another and learn something about yourself. And I really like the point that Jackie brought out where she said, hey, something was his thing, and watching him and leading in that thing, I was able to feel comfortable in that space. And something that Brandon said was, hey, she saw it in me, which empowered me, right? And even if that's not your particular dynamic as you're listening to this and taking away from it, the point is that you guys can be the yin to each other's yang, right?
Yes.
Once something that someone, to insert my own little thing here, something that someone said is, someone said, asked a question one time in a marriage course I was in, and they said, well, how do you know if you've got the right one, if you married the right person? And he said, well, here's the thing. Even if it was the one, as soon as you chose that person, God said that's the one.
Yeah.
Period. It's
There
done.
it is.
So having that been said, God has placed you together to be able to draw from one another powerfully that way.
Yeah.
We moved on talking about the book, and some of the major things that the book brings about is, he just said right before the recap: communication, conflict resolution, romance, finance. We're going to make you buy the book. We're not going to dive all the way into it. It's it's a lot to pull from the book. Those are some of the finer points that are brought out in the summary of the book. But just know that the tag that they said, that's the title of your podcast too.
Yeah, A Love Like That.
A Love Like That is not necessarily to read the book or watch listen to their podcast and draw and say, okay, I need to be like them. But find that thing that centers you, that puts you to be what God called you to be. They have found themselves, to quote them again, walking in their purpose by doing their service.
Yeah.
Marriage is a service.
Yes.
It's a service ministry.
Yeah.
And in that ministry, they know that they're walking in their purpose. So take that significance and find what it is to be for your particular purpose. And then going back to the whole title, building a brand with your spouse, and having that healthy relationship, and having that healthy communication. And another key is not spending too much time. There's a lot of ways you can flip that quote we bought from the Curtis is not letting the moment stop your movement. But that also goes back to that conflict resolutions piece, which is another one of the points in the book, The Marriage Bubble, not spending too much time in that conflict space. So that wasn't necessarily the most organized recap that I normally give. That's
But I
because so
love
many
that.
things
Yo,
were
that was
intertwined.
That was good. I like it.
Always,
I like it.
always.
Don't say that right
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Give you on point.
So everyone, please visit that. Yeah.
Yes.
And we just thank you guys for having us on. We you guys could have asked 1,000,001 people to come onto your show, man, but you guys made thought enough of us to bring us on. So we thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And can I say
joining us.
one thing?
Absolutely.
Say two things you wanted to.
Yes, 1, 2, 3. Something that's kind of like big to me, and the thing that I like about working with couples is you have everybody you need at the table. You got all the stakeholders. So for any couples listening, you have literally everything you need to make your marriage everything that you want it to be. Marriage is what you make it. It's about intentionality. It's about what you pour into it. So just do what you need to do to make it everything that you need it to be. It really is. It's a conversation between the two of you guys. make it everything that you need it to be.
That is very true. And shameless plug here. So we have a monthly challenge that we have going on, the Marriage Bubble 5-day challenge for couples.
Yes.
So starting in October, we have a brand new one. So every month we have a new 5-day challenge that we have going on. So make sure that you guys sign up for that.
Well, how can they find you? First off, how can they buy the book? How can they find you guys? How can they sign up for the challenge?
Okay.
Drop all the
that,
handles, all the
all
websites.
Well, all right. Yeah,
one
thank you.
by
All right,
one. Let's
yeah.
go.
All right, let's go. Okay. Well, listen. Okay, so if you want to find us, we're on social media. We're on Instagram at @lovelikeThat_. On Facebook at a Love Like That LLC, on YouTube at youtube.com/@love like that_. And we have everything there as far as connecting with us via social media, and also we have everything that's connected to our link tree, which is on there as well, so you can get to signing up for our events. So we do date night events that we've been doing. We have workshops. We have our 5-day challenge course that we have, and obviously we have our podcast. And for people who want to look at looking to get married, obviously holler at us. we want to make sure that you guys are getting off on the best foot possible.
Right. We will meet you at every point of the journey.
So yeah, so that's the really important piece. So yeah, that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Absolutely. That's what's up.
Dope.
That's
That's dope.
Thank
Black
you so
love,
much.
love it.
Again, thank you so much for coming through, Brandon and Jacqueline Watlington. Been a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for
Definitely been a
having us.
pleasure.
Yes.
So they gave their handles and where they can find us now to our business. So
yes.
and
Important
how you can tap in with True No Chaser. You understand what I'm saying? No, but you can always go to our Instagram, like I always say every week. Ashley keeps that up to date and popping. That's truth_no_chaser on IG. One thing that I never mentioned our TikTok. I'm sorry. Truth No Chaser does have a TikTok.
Yes,
y'all,
we
for
do.
you TikTokies
Frank
out
keeps
there.
it up.
All right. So we have amazing discussions on there. If you want to go in there and look and join in on the fun, feel free. All right. So that's just regular Truth No Chasers. No spaces, nothing like that. Just Truth No Chaser, one word. And also, if you wanted to purchase any of our merch, tap into what else we got going on in the future, you can check in with us at thetruthnochaser.com.
And for the visual version of this podcast, please, you can find us at youtube.com/thetruthnochaser. Again, that's youtube.com/thetruthnochaser for the visual component of this podcast.
And until next time, keep walking in your truth, Black people.